to my art channel. Without further ado, let's get drawing.
Everybody, welcome back to my art channel. Today we're going to be drawing some grapes. These are created all with the Procreate brushes that come with the app, so you don't have to purchase anything. Step by step, we're going to do this together and hopefully you should end up with something similar to this. What you're going to do is you're going to open up a 12 by 12 canvas. I already have one here. You're going to choose your inking studio pen brush and you're going to choose the base colour. So if you're doing green grapes, you're going to want green. If you're doing red, I'm going to be doing the purple wine grapes. Go ahead and draw a circle, edit the shape, create a circle, drag and drop your colour so you have a circle. This is going to be the base that we're going to be using for our grapes. This purple is probably a little bit darker than I wanted, so I'm just going to go ahead and change the colour. Okay, now we're going to turn Alpha Lock on and we're going to go to our airbrush and we're going to use our soft blend airbrush to create a circular shape. I'm going to use a darker purple and just on one side I'm just going to be creating a darker shadow and I'm going to be curving my pen around the curve of the circle. I'm then going to go ahead and choose a lighter purple and I'm just going to bring this up and around here on the left side. And then just in a medium purple, I'm just going to add some extra depth like so. Okay, now I am going to go ahead to my painting brushes and I'm going to be using my acrylic brush and in again different sets of deep purples, pinks and burgundies. I'm just going to be creating some different colours and I'm just going to be squiggling them on the top just like this. So as you can see, I've got my lighter colour here, my darker colour down here, and then I've got my base colours here. I'm going to go to my smudge brushes and I'm going to choose my willow charcoal from the charcoals brush set and I'm going to be blending with this. So I'm going to set my size at about 11-10 and I'm just going to blend in my colours. Okay, and you should end up with something like this. Okay, so just for now, I'm going to go ahead and duplicate these to make my grape. And then I'm going to go back over the top of the grapes and create the extra shadows and textures that I want. So I'm just going to resize this here and I'm just going to bring it to the top, probably about this kind of size. And I'm just going to go ahead and duplicate them. And I'm going to bring them on top of one another, like so. And then just make sure that you don't duplicate them each on top of each other, but you use ones that are underneath you can duplicate so that you get the different type of back to front look that's really 3D that we're looking for. And you can also resize some of them to make some a little bit smaller and some a little bit bigger, so they're not all exactly the same size. And then as you get to, you're going to be wanting to create a triangle shape. So as you get to the bottom, you're just going to want to resize them to get them a little bit smaller. And then you're just literally just gonna carry on duplicating until you get everything exactly where you want it. So you're just going to need to really play about with it and make sure that you have the kind of symmetrical effect that you're looking for, but also the really natural kind of fruit effect that you're going to want to go for as well. And just go ahead and rotate everything so that it's all different, so they don't look all exactly the same, even though we're using the same circle throughout. And you're going to end up with something that looks like this. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to merge all of these grapes together, and I am going to rotate it slightly. And now we're going to add the stem and the leaves. So add a new layer on top, bring it underneath this first layer on the bottom. Go ahead and choose your inking brush, and in a brown colour, you're just going to do a stem which is thicker at the top and thin at the bottom. And then from this, we're going to be doing some vine leaves. So go ahead and choose your vine leaf colour. It's a darkish green. And just draw some spiky vine leaves, and then drag and drop. And then you can just fill in the brown just on top here. And then we're going to do the same on the other side. So choose your green colour. And just do some really natural looking spiky vine leaves. And then we're just going to add a new layer on top of the grapes this time. And just in a slightly different green, we are going to add a vine leaf on top. Vine leaves are big and they're spiky. So just play about with it to get the shape correct. You can use photos for references. But just try. Okay, so you're going to end up with something that looks similar to this. You're now going to turn on Alpha Lock onto these bottom leaves, and you're going to go ahead and on your touch-up brushes, you're going to choose Old Skin. And you're going to use a darker green, and you're just going to add the shadows onto the bottom of the leaves here. And then you're going to add a lighter green on top. And you're going to do the same to the top leaf. So turn on Alpha Lock, use the light for the highlights, and again a darker green for the shadows. And then we are now going to go ahead and use our charcoal brush. We're going to use Willow Charcoal for this one. And we're just going to really add on to the shadows. You can then blend these in a bit if they look too sharp for the look that you're going for, like so. And then again to the top ones. It's really important that this texture is added because it makes the drawing look less flat. So just go ahead and add then the white highlights onto the top of the leaves. Things like food and nature and flowers and trees are really good to draw if you're just beginning, because it really means that you can experiment with different techniques and colors. And because nature is so very different, there you don't have to get everything proportionally correct. I'm now going to go ahead and choose my inking brush, but I'm going to choose my ink bleed brush, and in a dark green, in a neon black, I'm just going to turn the opacity down about halfway, and I'm now going to add the detail onto my leaf. And I'm going to do this just really quickly. Like so, and I'm going to do the same on this leaf. Like I said, play about with different colours, different brushes. I mean, Procreate have given you so many brushes to play about with. So whatever skill level you're at with drawing, there's always something different that you can use and learn from these Procreate brushes. Go ahead onto the top leaf and just do the same. Okay, and there you have the basic grapes with leaves. We're now going to be adding even more texture on top of the grapes and some shadows onto the leaves. So we're now just going to add our shadows with the inking brush. So on top of the top leaf, add a new layer and click clipping mask. And in your studio pen, with the size turned all the way up and the opacity down, we're just going to add some shadows and we're just going to blend them on the edges, and we're going to add some highlights, which we're also going to blend. Just very subtle changes, and we're going to do the same on the bottom leaves. We're going to add a new layer and we're going to click clipping mask, and we're going to go ahead and add our shadows. And our highlights. Just like so. Okay, we are now going to add our textures onto our grapes. So above the grapes, we're going to add a new layer and click clipping mask. We're now going to go to our abstract brushes and we're going to go onto the Storm Bay brush. And I love this brush, it's really good for different style effects. I'm going to choose black and I'm just going to turn the opacity down, and I'm going to turn the size down and the opacity up, and I'm just going to add in the darker spots some dark shadows. Now we're going to blend this in. So go to your blending brush and just blend around the edges so that it's not too dark. And then we're going to choose white, and we're going to do the same on top of the black that we've just done. And we're going to go in and blend. And you're you're just blending so that you can get a layered effect on each grape, so they look more rounded and each one looks really completely different. And you're just going to do something like that. You're then going to group all of these layers together, and you're going to duplicate the layer. And you're going to rotate this layer so that you have one underneath the other, and where your grapes are, you're going to click on that layer, and then you're just going to recolor them to a different purple or red so that it stands out from the other layer. And you're just going to place them together, and then you're going to duplicate and do the same again. So you have three sets, a set of three bunches of grapes. Tongue twister. I'm going to bring this one on top, and I'm just going to recolor again with a different color. And then just play about with the placements. And then you can group all of these together and then move them to the center of your artboard. And then you can duplicate this entire group. We've reached layers, so we're just going to go ahead and we're just going to flatten all of these layers, and we're going to duplicate. Then we're going to fill in this bottom layer with black. I'm going to turn alpha lock off, and we are going to go to our blur. Which we're going to use as our drop down shadow. We're going to turn the opacity down. And we're just going to create that shadow effect. We're then going to turn on a new layer on top and bring it down underneath all the other layers. And we're going to choose a fun brush. You can choose any of the texture brushes. I'm going to go with this waveform under the abstract brushes. And I'm just going to do some squiggles, like vine leaf squiggles. I'm going to do this in some different greens. And I'm going to turn the size down. And I'm just going to add this really important decoration. You could even use some golden colors. And then you can change the background color to something more fitting. And there you have your set of grapes. I hope you really enjoyed this video, and I've got loads of fruit and vegetable series coming out in the next few weeks. So if you've got any suggestions for videos, please go ahead and drop them in the comments below, and I will see what I can do for you.
Thanks for watching. If you liked what you saw, please go ahead and give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, because it really helps me in creating more free videos for all of you out there. So if you want to come and join my Procreate group, the links are in the description. I'd love for you to be a member of my group. We can share awesome ideas, tips and artwork. Also, please don't forget to tag me on Instagram so that I can see what work you've created from this awesome tutorial. So love to you all, and I'll see you in the next video.